Tabletop Rebellion, and today we're going to be taking a quick look at Legions of Steel, Operation Anvil, a sci-fi tactical miniatures game, coming to Kickstarter probably about the time that this is going to be available on YouTube, so October 26th. This is a reprint of an older sci-fi tactical miniatures games. This is actually the third edition. Now this is going to be a short video. This is not going to be about the game itself, although it does look very interesting. This is more about the actual miniatures that came with the game, that are going to come with the game. In particular, the United Nations of Earth Commando Sergeant. This is going to be about the miniature, the construction, the detail, and I painted it up. And I'll talk you through a little bit of that. And at the end, we'll discuss the miniature. So as you can see here, this was primed in black using Army Painter Matte Black, just out of a rattle can. And then I did some zenithal highlighting using Army Painter Matte White, also just out of a rattle can. I've got this one based on a sci-fi base. This is actually from Fantasy Flight's Star Wars Legion custom base. But I thought that the aesthetic for it fit pretty well with this mini. So for the color scheme, decided to go with blue armor with kind of a gray, dark gray underclothing. So I base painted the jumpsuit with Army Painter Necromancer Cloak and just kind of added in ash gray for highlighting up to just pure ash gray for the lightest highlights. For the armor, I went with Ultramarines Blue mixed with Void Shield Blue up to pure Void Shield Blue for the brightest highlights. The hair, which was a little bit of fun, was actually done in Army Painter Goblin Green and then highlighted by mixing in increasing amounts of Army Painter Moon Dust, which is kind of a flat yellowish color if you haven't seen it before. After that, just did some, painted the gun black with some metallic highlighting, or dry brushing, I should say. The skin tone was painted with a mixture of Army Painter Barbarian Flesh, mixed with a little bit of darker brown and just a touch of red. And then I just worked up with the highlights again, straight up through Barbarian Flesh. And as you can see, I shaded it a little bit with Citadel Flesh Wash. Now, I just want to say that this is a prototype mini, but the sculpt is pretty finalized, so this is what you're going to see with the Kickstarter and retail editions of the game. The final models will be pewter, which I just want to say on a personal note, I haven't seen in a long time, not since the early days of, well, early for me, when I started painting miniatures in Warhammer 40K back in the 90s. And the minis will be tab and slot, so anyone familiar with those old Warhammer minis will definitely be familiar with that. So for those that don't know, the feet of the minis are going to be they're going to basically have a bar between them, underneath them, and the bases will have a slot that you just slide that into. These particular minis didn't have that. Like I said, they're just prototypes, and the bases that I was using wouldn't have that option anyway. So results will be a little bit different from what you see here, unless you decide to cut the tab off and use another base like I did. The detail on the minis is good, which has always been an advantage that pewter or white metal would have against plastic. They can hold sharp detail better than most injection molded plastics. So there's a lot of fun detail to paint on this. And as you can see, I did go for just kind of a blue scheme to kind of keep in theme with them being security forces. I'm looking forward to painting the rest of the figures. You can see those coming up on our Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and possibly even on YouTube again. That does it for this video. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel. We'll see you next time.